This is the day that people across the region and around the world have been working, striving, hoping, and praying for. They have done things over the last month that I think were really unthinkable. Nobody thought this could happen. With the historic agreement we've just signed, those prayers of millions have finally been answered. As you know, the hostages have been returned. And further work goes on having to do with the, sadly to say, bodies. Together we've achieved what everybody said was impossible. At long last, we have peace in the Middle East. And it's a very simple expression, peace in the Middle East. And we've heard it for many years, but nobody thought it could ever get there. And now we're there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us. Happy Monday. We are live tonight. If you're joining us on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, please be sure to drop a comment. Let us know where you're tuning in from. If you're on YouTube, please be sure to like, subscribe, and follow us here on the Great America Show. We truly, truly appreciate it. What a weekend. What a monumental weekend, and what a monumental day for America. What a monumental day for the rest of the world. Putting all parties aside, putting Israel aside, putting Gaza aside, Hamas aside, everything aside, Egypt aside. Think about how great of a day it was for the rest of the world. I mean, the root of world issues pretty much sits in the Middle East. I mean, every single issue that we have in this country and quite frankly abroad, with the exception of the southern border, roots somewhere in the Middle East. Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Iran. I mean, you could throw pretty much a dart anywhere in that region, with the exception of a few countries, and there's some sort of rudimental problem between them and America. What people don't realize is, and I don't mean you guys, I mean on the left and the mainstream media, what people don't realize is that by Donald Trump creating this coalition of different countries inside the Middle East, he's creating a coalition that will, in my opinion, work towards world peace. When you have X amount of countries in a coalition in the Middle East, it's going to make it very, very hard for a country like Iran to take up war with America, with Israel, with Qatar, with Saudi Arabia. It'll make it hard for them to take up war with them here at home, with us here at home. And that's, I think, a big part of what President Trump is working for. It's not just towards securing peace and everlasting peace for Israel from all their haters in the area, but it's also securing peace for America. I mean, you think of our two biggest opponents on the world stage, Russia and China, right? It doesn't have to be this way, but this is, I guess, just by default how it is, thanks to our world leaders who have unfortunately put us in bad situations time and time again. George W. Bush, George H.W. Bush, Barack Hussein Obama, Joe Biden, Jimmy Carter. They're the ones who put us into this situation that we're now in the Middle East, where it's, I mean, pretty much again, everyone against America and Israel. And Donald Trump, I don't think, gets enough credit for what he did his first time around with the Abraham Accords. I say this each and every time I talk about Israel on this show, and I truly believe it. And I think there's a lot of people out there who agree with me, including some top military brass that we brought on the show. If it weren't for the Abraham Accords that President Trump brought around his first term, I don't think Israel would be standing today. I truly don't. I mean, you look at how much issue and problem they've had just around their surrounding countries, Lebanon, Iran. If it weren't for President Trump and the Abraham Accords, I truly don't believe that Israel would be standing today. And I think all the evidence points at that. I really, really, truly, truly believe that. President Trump, in his very long speech today at the World Peace Forum or Summit, whatever you want to call it, says he now expects more countries to want to be brought in on those Abraham Accords.
We're going to get a lot of people joining the Abraham Accords. We have the four great nations that did it early on, and they stayed with it. And then you had the Biden administration, which is the worst administration in the history of our country. And obviously, they did nothing on that and anything else. And so it stayed at 4. And now a lot of people, even today, they're talking about all joining up. So many people have talked to me about that. And it's going to be a great tribute to really the United States. I mean, the United States has worked very hard in the Middle East, so it would be a tribute to us and to Jared and to Steve and to all of the people, Marco, all of the people that have worked so hard on that. And it really is going to it's going to guarantee that it all stays together.
And I don't know who would be against that. I don't know who would be against finally getting some sort of peace over in the Middle East for years to come. I mean, think about it. So Donald Trump's not going to be in power much longer, unfortunately. I say this as a disgruntled person, knowing we're not going to have Donald Trump the rest of our lives. So what's going to happen after Donald Trump? What I believe is going to happen is whoever the next politicians are, and I'm not saying it'll be J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio or one or the other, but maybe after them. I think eventually you're going to have the country club Republicans try to resort back to business as usual. And what is business as usual for the Republicans? Well, just go ask Senators Tom Cotton or Senators Lindsey Graham. It's the military-industrial complex taking over the world. It's the military-industrial complex demanding we go to war with another country. It's the military-industrial complex telling us we have to think this certain way. It's the military-industrial complex telling us that we can't let so-and-so do this. So that's what I believe. And I hope I'm wrong. But I believe that they're going to try to resort back to their old ways. They're going to try to go back to business as usual, starting wars in countries that we have absolutely no interest of being in. Iraq, Syria, Afghanistan, to name 3. Troops lost there that we should have never lost. The other thing I also say on this show all the time, we've lost more people to the invasion at the southern border than we lost in any war in the Middle East. Simple math. About 100,000 Americans a year dead from drug overdoses. Yet we find ourselves time and time again in some country in the Middle East. Now, this last time around when President Trump bombed Iran, I mean, I came out here and there's shows. We don't delete any of our shows. I was vehemently against it. I didn't think it was a good idea. I didn't think it was a good idea for America to be going back over to the Middle East. And I know Donald Trump, it took him a lot to get to that point. Knowing him personally, I think it took him a lot getting to that point where he finally sent over the bombers to blow up their nuclear facilities. But the way that Donald Trump did it, which now I admit I was wrong, because that's what you're supposed to do. When you're wrong, you own up, you admit it, and you move forward and try not to make the same mistake again. So I was wrong, because Donald Trump showed us that there is a way to hold countries accountable, to hold people accountable, without, 1, upending their entire country, without 2, calling for and enacting on some sort of regime change, which has been business as usual for some Republican politicians over the course of the last few years. And 3, for not sending troops on the ground. I mean, he literally went over there. He blew the heck out of their facilities. And without skipping a beat, they were turned right back around, and I think on their way back to Missouri. And I think because of that, it deterred Iran from possibly doing something. I mean, their retaliation strike was in Qatar on an American base. And what did Iran do? They called up Qatar and they said, hey, just to let you know, we're doing a retaliatory strike. It's going to be at this point, at this time, to make them seem like they're to be feared, which they're not. But that was the retaliation. Now, under a different president, like Joseph Robinette Biden, I think you see a far different picture. And don't take my word for it. Just take a look at Israel and Gaza right now. Well, before today. Take a look at Ukraine and Russia. When you have a strong leader, you don't necessarily have to go the full mile to hold somebody to account. Speak softly and carry a big stick. Well, Donald Trump does a little bit of both, I think. He speaks very strongly, softly. You don't often hear him raising his voice. But it puts us now in a position where I think we could have everlasting peace in the Middle East. And I think that fundamentally changes the world. If there is some way, some way that we can get this in this country. I want to take a quick break here, folks. Before we go to break, though, I want to get to some of your questions to everyone tuned in. As I said, we're live tonight, so I appreciate, as always, you guys tuning in. Kelly Song, good evening to you, and thank you, as always, for tuning in. Finbar, it's our friend from across the pond over in the UK. Trump was just amazing today. Indeed, he was. We're going to have some more clips for everybody on the other side of this break. Joan over on Facebook. God bless our President Trump. We got someone on Facebook. Please take me off your distribution list. I find this political puffing to be anti-American and hypocritical. Well, you're tuned into the show. You're not on any sort of distribution list, and we don't shy away from any comments here, folks. So send your hate and send all that good stuff. We're putting it up for everyone to see. G Wi-Fi, good afternoon from beautiful San Diego. Good afternoon, sir. Carolyn over on Facebook, never heard the truth referred to as puffing before. Thanks for your defense. We appreciate it. Shirley over on Facebook, President Trump did it. He did what no other person on this earth could have ever done. You're absolutely right, Shirley. It's been tried before. Well, you know what? I say that, and I sort of take it as a half of truth. Has it really ever been tried? We've been lied to about so much stuff in this country. So we've been told it's been tried before, but has it really? I don't know. It's a good question. Finbar, can anybody imagine Biden doing any of this? No, sir. I cannot imagine Biden even being able to walk up the stairs of Air Force One to do so. Happy Columbus Day, America. I should have started the show with that. Columbus Day is so back. Happy Columbus Day, folks, to all those celebrating. Stella, we are proud to be Americans again. Yes, indeed, we are, ma'am. We are absolutely. I want to add that man's name to Montgomery Ward distribution list. I appreciate you, Jim, over on Rumble. Folks, before we go to break, I want to get to something because and we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show, but it's sort of just blowing my mind. Over the weekend, I was invited to have a friend who's a country singer on tour. Goes by the name of Thomas Rhett. Pretty big country singer. I'll bring a clip. I want to tell you why I want to talk about this. It was over in Atlanta, which is where I spent part of my week. Good friend, great American Thomas Rhett. His father was a singer, Rhett Atkins. So I was with him a few weeks ago in Vegas, and then I was with him as he wrapped up his tour for the year. I was with him over the weekend in Atlanta. And two places that are run by Democrats. Vegas, I never even got to this. It was about 2 weeks ago. An absolute hellhole. I mean, to the next level. Terrible. Just a terrible, terrible. Homeless people everywhere. Now, the last time I was in Atlanta was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm back in Atlanta over the weekend and staying at what's the nicest hotel in Atlanta. And I'm not saying this to gloat or bloviate. It wasn't particularly expensive, and I booked it with points, so it was free. But from traveling so much for work, you accumulate a lot of points. So I stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Atlanta. And I walk out the door, and I get in an Uber to go get breakfast. And this is what is down the street. Just miles and miles of homeless, and that was just a short 30-second clip of it, but miles and miles of garbage. Homelessness I mean, as we drove by, I'm watching this guy shoot up heroin, or somebody who was there, heroin or fentanyl. I don't know, whatever drugs you inject with a needle. But this is outside the nicest hotel in Atlanta, downtown Atlanta. Now, the reason I say Atlanta is these are the people who came after Donald Trump and everyone because he was a criminal. What they told us. Instead of worrying about their own city, which, I mean, I can't really be talking from a New York standpoint, but is just a total crap hole. I mean, the streets smell like urine. There's drugs all over them. And this is just another example of a Republican-run state with a Marxist Dem-run city. And we're worried about everywhere else in the world and sending money to everywhere else. Sorry about the rant. I just had to get to that because it literally just blew my mind seeing inside of America. And I thought it was just a Vegas thing until I was down in Atlanta and I realized this is far worse than just Vegas. This is Atlanta. It's probably happening in every other blue city across the country as well. We're going to take a quick break here, folks. On the other side of this quick break, much more to come on the Great America Show. Please stay with us. We are coming right back, I promise.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that we're making it through. My employees and I want to thank you for your continued support by extending our wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows only $14.98. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.98. But it gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows $29.98 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including my standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98, Kings only $1 more. Not only that, order $75 or more, ship absolutely free.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
thanks, America!
Thanks, everybody, for staying with us here on the Great America Show. Let's get to a few more of your questions before we move on to some more news. So is this the end of Hamas, Finbar asks? It's certainly the start, the beginning of the end, in my opinion. There's going to have to be some sort of regime change there in Gaza for this whole thing to work. I don't believe you could have them staying in power after everything that's gone on. I don't think it's necessarily going to work out like that. Let's get to another comment here from Lauren over on YouTube. Like I said, we don't shy away from the hateful comments or anything like that. This is the Great America Show where we all have the right to speak freely. Do we necessarily agree with each other? No. I'm sure there's plenty of things you disagree with me on, and I'm sure I disagree with you guys on a few things, but that's what makes America great. Lauren, Trump would have been the first Nobel winner who was found guilty of felonies and was found liable for sexual abuse. An appeals court upheld his $83 million sexual abuse ruling last month. Yes, you're absolutely right, Lauren. Yeah, the court did uphold it. Now try bringing that to a court anywhere else in America beside Marxist-run New York, where there was no jury. It was a bench case from the judge. Try bringing that case anywhere else in the world, where you can go back and tell someone 40 years ago you were raped in a Bergdorf Goodman fitting room that nobody believes. Nobody with any sort of brain or self-respect believes that, of course. Go do that in any other court outside of a Marxist-run court that has Trump derangement syndrome to the next level. Not exactly going to work out. Mary over on Facebook, we love our President Trump because he is the best yet. Yeah, I agree with you. We got another comment from Lauren over on YouTube. Per his physician's public report, Donald Trump received a flu shot and COVID booster at his doctor's appointment last week. Yeah, that's the great thing about America, is you should be allowed. Now, I don't agree with it, to get the COVID vaccine or any of those dumb boosters, or even the flu vaccine. I mean, a lot of people are convinced. The flu vaccine, I think, hits like 15 strains of the flu, and I can't remember the last time they actually hit the right one where it stopped the flu. Something we're going to look up, but I think it's been a very long time. So I don't agree with it. But Donald Trump's an elderly man, and he believes that that's what's best for him. Not being forced. See the difference between the draconian mandate versus electing to do something. That's the difference, Lauren. What was done to us in 2020 and 2019 was criminal. Locking people down, forcing you, pretty much holding you down, saying, take this jab, or you're going to, number one, you're going to die. Number two, you can't come out to dinner. Number three, you have to stay locked in your house. Number four, you can't get on a plane. You can't leave the country. That's the difference between Donald Trump and a Marxist-run regime. Nobody's forcing us to do anything. So let's get back to President Trump's monumental day. And the monumental day, like I said, for the rest of the world. President Trump, at his press conference, says, today is the day that we finally have the chance to change the world.
Today, for the first time anyone can remember, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to put the old feuds and bitter hatreds behind us. And that's why so many people in this room, they didn't get along. Some did, some didn't, but they're getting along now. This has brought the people together. This is the first time the Middle East crisis has brought people together as opposed to driving them apart. And to declare that our future will not be ruled by the fights of the generations past, which is foolish. So together, let us continue in the spirit of cooperation and goodwill that has finally brought us to this incredible, historic breakthrough. If we do together, we will reach the Middle East's incredible destiny, a safe and prosperous and beautiful crossroads of culture and commerce, faith in humanity and geographic center. This will be the geographic center of the world.
As it should be. President Trump, I can't think of anyone better fit to lead the world than Donald Trump. It's truly, truly remarkable the things that he's able to accomplish. Now, perhaps my favorite, actually, let me say second favorite, because it would be very selfish of me to say this was my favorite part. My second favorite part is the fact that the Marxist Dems are now tongue-tied, having to admit what they've been hiding from saying for the last 10 years. That Donald Trump is not Hitler. Donald Trump is not the purveyor of World War III. But that Donald Trump is a good, decent man who wants what's best for the world. I mean, what political gain does it get Donald Trump to do this? They're going to hold the Nobel Peace Prize over his head forever, or any sort of peace prizes forever. But as Donald Trump said from the beginning, my best revenge is success. And I can't think of a more successful first 8 months of an administration, going back and looking at history at any given point, than what this man has been able to accomplish in this short period of time. Do we want to see more arrests out of the Department of Justice? Absolutely. But what he's been able to do per the border and immigration, for world peace, I mean, he spent the first 8 months working on issues that pertain to America, but don't pertain to America at the same time, in order to ensure America's safety. Because we had a lame duck idiot of a president for the last 4 years. I mean, the man was just dumb. Putting aside his dementia and elderly issues, he's always been dumb. I mean, everyone has said this about this man, including Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, Joe Biden has been brain dead his whole entire life. So, you know, you could use the excuse that he's got dementia, but the guy's always been a total fool and a total idiot. So I don't know how you can get around that. So back to my second favorite part of today is the fact that the Democrats, the Marxist Dems, finally, tongue-tied, have to admit that Donald Trump is just a great American and a great human being. Let's go to Leon Panetta first.
This achievement, and it is a significant achievement, would not have happened without United States leadership. President Trump deserves a lot of credit for bringing the parties together.
Oh, you think so, Mr. Panetta, former CIA director? No crap. Let's look at Caitlin Collins, or as I call her, Dylan Mulvaney, and Wolf Blitzer.
And welcome back to CNN's breaking news coverage as we are covering a historic moment here in Israel, because for the first time, in 2 years, over 2 years, 738 days. Hamas holds no living hostages in its captivity for the first time.
Imagine that. Imagine that. How about Anthony Blinken? If you guys are on Twitter, you probably saw Anthony Blinken over the weekend. Let's take a look at what Anthony Blinken had to say and President Trump's response to it.
Blinken says it's good that President Trump adopted and built on the plan that the Biden administration developed. What do you think about that?
Everybody knows it's a joke. Look, they did such a bad job. This should have never happened. This wouldn't have even happened. That was weak leadership, terrible. And the same thing with Russia, Ukraine. If just a decent president, not a great president like me, not a great president. If a decent president was in, you wouldn't have had the Russia-Ukraine. And this is, I would say, even more so. This was bad policy by Biden and by Obama. Remember when Bibi came and he begged that you not do what they were doing with Iran? You remember that, right? Begged them. And they wouldn't even listen to him. Everything they did was the opposite what you should have done. And it's nice that they try and take a little credit. That was years ago, and the mistakes were made years ago, and it was both by Biden and Obama.
Nobody believes that Biden or Obama did anything to create world peace. They were all in on this massive coup to appease the military-industrial complex. Perhaps my favorite moment, third favorite moment, I should say, of today was Donald Trump getting a hold of Macron on stage. If you never watched, I beg you to watch it next time. When Donald Trump goes in for a handshake to meet somebody, he does this thing where he takes your hand and he pulls it towards him. Just take a look at what he did to Macron today, because this makes me so happy, because Macron is just such a little puke, a little repressed French man who hates America, in my opinion, hates Donald Trump for sure. But you remember there was a video a few weeks out of them all making fun of Donald Trump for Donald Trump not getting credit for creating world peace. Macron thought it was funny. Now, Donald Trump never commented on it publicly, but after watching this handshake, something tells me Donald Trump saw the video. Here it is.
A coat and tie. It's usually a flak jacket and a helmet. So an interesting change. As we see the president there with the French President Macron in Sharm el-Sheikh, the leaders of some 35 countries, according to the president, gathering there for a peace summit. Now, there is a bro shake. If ever I've looked, we won't let go. Okay, you let go. No, I'm going to let go. All right, there we go. As they assemble for the class photo there, let's bring in Martha McCall.
There was no bro handshake there. John Roberts was a numbskull over on Fox. That's Donald Trump showing Macron who's daddy. And don't ever get it twisted, you little beta man. We're taking one more quick break for you, folks. We're going to come right back. I want to tell you, give you an update. What's going on in Portland? And I'm thinking, as I see these protesters going, I'm thinking I got to take a flight out to Portland this week. See for myself what the hell's going on over there. We're taking a quick break. When we return, I'm going to tell you what they did over the weekend, and it wasn't fun.
Just like all of you, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. I'd flip-flop all night, use my arm for support, and fall asleep, or I'd wake up with a sore neck or maybe a headache. Well, quality sleep comes from keeping your neck straight at night. You have to fill in that space between your head and your bed. That's why I invented My Pillow. My Pillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it doesn't matter if you sleep on your back, stomach, side, or any combination of all three.
When I got My Pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night, and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get Classic King My Pillows for only $19.98. Queen size just $18.98. Standard Classic My Pillows only $14.98. That's right, only $14.98. Plus all orders $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Thanks for staying with us, folks, here on the Great America Show. As always, we appreciate you tuning in to any show that we do live or any show in general. But when we go live, we like to take your questions as my thank you to you guys tuning in and interacting. As always, we get a great chat over on Rumble. You guys are awesome. You guys are terrific. We're trying on Facebook, on YouTube. We got a decent crew over there, but YouTube hamstrung us a little bit, and they don't like to let us get the message out there. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but most of the time they don't. So we thank Rumble and our great people over on Rumble who join us each and every night. So I told you what I did over the weekend out in Atlanta. And by the way, someone commented where to stay next time in Atlanta. I don't think I'll be back to Atlanta anytime soon, unless, of course, Fonnie Willis is getting arrested. Then I'll go down to Atlanta, but no plans to go back there anytime soon. So I told you what I did over the weekend, and I wish you could all tell me what you did, but it's not likely. So I'm going to tell you what the folks in good old Oregon did over the weekend, and it's not a pretty sight. I got to tell you, it's not a pretty sight. Let's see if we can get it up on the screen here for you guys, because I had to see it. It means you guys have to see it, because I can't explain to you how bad it is. Here you go. This is what happened over the weekend in Portland. Naked bike riders joined ICE protests in Portland. Protests turned into clash with ICE, leading to several arrests. Now, thank God this is censored, but I was forced on Twitter to see the actual video of it uncensored, and it's something you can never unsee. Absolutely disgusting and repulsive. But these folks, these protesters, took to the streets of Portland, some of them completely butt naked, to protest ICE. Can you imagine going into work, folks? I assume most of you guys have jobs or retired. But can you imagine going into work on Monday and your boss says to you, "What'd you do this weekend?" Now, I'm talking any other place aside from Portland, because obviously there's some sort of mental imbalance there or something in the water. I know that when I worked for the great Lou Dobbs, who wasn't particularly violent, at least not with me. I know when I worked for him, if I came to work when we were working together in an office, and he said, "Partner," and he often did, "What'd you do over the weekend?" I'd, tell him, whatever. And we talk. If I ever told him I did that, he'd probably pick up the biggest book he could find and beat me over the head with it. Rightfully so. But can you imagine going to work and telling the people you work with, "I rode through the streets butt naked, protesting ICE"? I mean, these people are mentally insane. This is far worse than anything I've seen in a very long time. I mean, it's up there with almost the Summer of Love stuff. But these people drove through the streets, everything out, protesting ICE. Now, the ICE officers, I have to assume, probably had a pretty fun weekend battering with some of these people. Here we go. Here's a video we've got here. Let's see if we can blow it up for you so you can get a better view. The protest outside the ICE facility turned into chaos as the crowd getting aggressive with federal agents making arrests. Agents using crowd control munitions from the roof of the facility. Massive turnout right now, still developing. Let's take a look. My goodness. Well, it's nice to see the ICE agents doing their job. Folks, I don't think you can script this stuff into a movie with what we're seeing right now in America. And the hate and the spew is coming from the federal government. In some cases, state and local governments and others. Like a big old J.B. Pritzker, who's running his big fat mouth, daring President Trump to come arrest him. I mean, it's all hyperbolic bullshit, in my opinion, but this is the hate that these people are spewing upon our federal agents. who are just simply doing their job protecting America. I mean, this is the world we're living in now. These people are getting more violent. They're getting more unhinged. And now we look at these people, these psychopaths, driving through the streets naked in their gay garb or whatever gay flags they have there. And we laugh at them now. But if you think about it, you look at every single one of these shooters that we've had in the last few years, whether it be the Trump assassin, the Charlie Kirk assassin, whatever you want to look at. And you can see each and every one of them fitting into these parades. All a bunch of freaks. But this is what the left and the mainstream media and these left-wing Marxist politicians are driving in America. They're driving hate. They're driving anger. And I hate to say it, but it only leads me to believe that the mass casualties from these freaks is going to get worse. I mean, if you folks out there legally own a gun or a weapon in a state where you're allowed to, I encourage you to carry it every single day, everywhere you go. Because nobody's truly safe in this country with what we're seeing, the hate we're seeing spewed from the left. Nobody's safe. It's not hyperbole. It's the truth, and we've seen it. These unhinged lunatics who are being driven by, whether it be the forums on Reddit, politicians. The amount of hate in this country on the left right now is at levels we've never seen before. So I encourage you all to protect yourselves and protect your families. I'm not saying go out and harm anybody, but just make sure you're protected. I've told you here, I've carried a gun almost every single day of my adult life since turning 18. I hope to God I never have to use it, and pray I never have to use it, because it'd be a horrible day. But I know that when I'm somewhere, I'm protecting myself and anyone around me, regardless of anything. But this is a scary world we're living in now, folks. It is a scary, scary world. And if the left doesn't tone it down and get their idiots under control, it's going to get worse, and people are going to start getting hurt. And the good guys are going to start acting before the bad guys. And that's just the truth, what I believe is going to happen. Because people aren't going to tolerate this much longer. They're not going to tolerate these freaks trying to take over society and scare everybody. Because that's what they want. They want us to wake up every morning scared. And it's quite the opposite effect on me. I'm not, and I'll never cower or bow down to them. And I think that's the sentiment of a lot of people. I mean, we fought for everything we've gotten. And these freaks think they're just going to come in here and say, this is what's going to happen. And it's not going to work like that. And it's not going to end well if that's what they truly believe. So the left has got to stop their hateful rhetoric on people who do not fundamentally agree with their illegal mind thinking of that illegals should be allowed to stay here, or that they should be allowed to sell drugs in this country, or that they should be on assistance paid for by you and I. I'm tired of it. I just paid my taxes yesterday, and I think to myself, why am I even paying these? Why am I even paying taxes? So I can go pay for some illegal to go to school? So I can pay for some illegal to go to the hospital? What about me? Who's paying for me to go to the hospital? Who paid for me to go to school? Who's going to pay my Social Security when I turn 65? Or who's going to pay my medical benefits, God forbid something ever happens to me and I can no longer work? It's the questions I ask myself often, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. And, you know, there's the mantra that always stuck with me, and my grandmother used to tell me when I would tell her I needed help. She'd say, God helps them who help themselves. And it's always stuck by me. I till this day. She'd tell it to me since I was a kid. God bless her. She lived to 103 years old. Polish blood. I mean, tough as nails till the day she died. And it's true. God helps them who help themselves. But we're finding ourselves, folks, in an increasingly disappointing world where we're being asked to pay for everybody for everything. Ukraine, Russia, illegals at the southern border, housing, schooling, Medicare, Medicaid. I mean, you go down the list. Our police systems we pay for. So we're rightfully tired of it. But these left-wing agitators think that they're going to try to force us into a position. And it's not going to work. So that's my rant for that for the night. I'll get to a few more of your questions before we wrap up here, because as I said, it's always appreciative of me too. I always appreciate it that you guys tune into the show live. GY5, whenever you're, oh, here we go. Whenever you travel to Atlanta, stay in Peachtree City area. Very clean, very safe. Like I said, I don't think I'll be back in Atlanta anytime soon, unless Fonnie Willis is getting arrested. Starmer is an embarrassment. Yeah, he's a total fool and just a lackey. I don't know if you guys saw, but Justin Trudeau is apparently dating Katy Perry. Talk about that relationship. I always thought he was playing for the other team, but I guess not. It forces an honest reassessment of the Obama administration from Stryfer over on Rumble. Yeah, I think you were referring to them trying to end the wars that we've had and America being involved. Casino Doctor, the Jewish communities in New York and New Jersey usually vote Democrat. Hopefully no more. Yeah, I hope this was an eye-opener for the Jewish community. I hope this was an eye-opener for the community that overwhelmingly votes Democrat. The Democrats don't give a shit about them. But don't feel bad, because the Democrats don't give a shit about anybody. But hopefully this was an eye-opener to the Jewish Americans, to see who has your back, to see who's going to go and fight for you and the Jewish people. I hope this was an eye-opener. Because if it weren't for Donald Trump, this would have never happened. Strafer, Pin Vendetta and Bullshitter are lost in their own minds. Leon Panetta, I guess you're speaking of, and Wolf Blitzer. Absolutely hysterical. Macron was asking Trump not to let go. His wife was there and was going to slap him across the room. Yeah, you're probably right. Macron's wife apparently is a very, very strong smack. You guys saw the video of her smacking the hell out of him when they got off the plane. Pretty funny. Trump was telling Macron to man up and quit letting his wife abuse him. I think it's in Macron's blood. I think it's in the French blood to wave the flag and surrender. And I said jokingly, I have a lot of French friends from France, actually. Casino Doctor, the furries are multiplying. I guess that's in response to the video of Portland that's going on. Yeah, the furry thing is, when I was first told about what furries were, I didn't believe it. My aunt, who's a school teacher, was telling me that she had a furry. And I didn't believe it because it made zero sense. You're telling me someone comes dressed as an animal, and it made zero sense to me. But you're absolutely right. It's getting real weird. In the 80s, they blamed the suicide rate in Portland due to all the rain and lack of sunshine. It's a sick place. I've been there. It's not too beautiful. They broke his clarinet. I guess you're referring to the video of the ICE agents. Strafer, I might have done something like that as a party dare in my wild younger days, but riding naked as a protest, I don't get it. Yeah, none of us get it. And I think you're probably right. I would have going to college and being in a fraternity, I was forced to do things I didn't want to do. That would have been a tough one for me to swallow, especially with everyone with phones these days. You never know what someone's going to catch on video, especially these people. I mean, they're on the front pages of videos and stuff, and there's no shame driving around naked. I mean, just weirdos, just total weirdos. Let's see. Lauren, I think this is our Democrat friend over on YouTube. Military personnel and their families are increasingly relying on food banks and pantries due to the economy and the shutdown. There's a 30% uptick among soldiers. Things are not going well here. Well, Lauren, I encourage you to call your member of Congress or senators, wherever you're living, and tell them to open the government. The Republicans have voted numerous times in the House to open the government. Failed in the Senate every time because of that 60-vote threshold. And Donald Trump says he's got the military's back 100%. They're going to get paid, and they are getting paid. So maybe you should call your member of Congress and your senators and encourage them to stop holding this government hostage. In 5 days, I think it's the No Kings rally, which Mike Johnson says after that, we'll probably see the government open back up. The only people acting like kings and dictators, though, right now are the Democrats. Let's not get that twisted. Mark, over on Facebook, the trannies want you to scrape and submit or die. Yeah. They want us to submit to their level of thinking. Otherwise, we're public enemy number one to them. And that's going to be a problem. Portland is making Seattle look peaceful. Yeah. Portland's, I don't know. Just a rough place. I feel bad for anyone who lives there. But then, like I said, again, I live in New York, so it's not much better. Don't take it personally if you live there, because it's not much better here. At least right now it is, but it's not usually. Seems like chaos just for the sake of chaos. They would destroy themselves if left in isolation, but we can get far away enough. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I think they just do it for fun at this point. There's nothing really fun in it, though. Casino Doctor, I am over 60 years old, went to take money out of my IRA, and that 10% penalty, but then I find out Biden put on a 3% surrender tax as a penalty for those who don't pay the 10%. Trump canceling it in November. Yeah, I didn't know anything about that. But that's the world that the Biden's got us living in. I mean, he made this economy so rough for people that they're now playing catch up with their bills. And last but not least, let's take one more comment. Everything is documented on camera today. Imagine a potential employer receiving a highlight reel on you. Yeah, I'd be totally unemployable with some of the videos my friends have of me from college and doing stupid stuff. But I own it. I've never shied away from it. I've never done anything illegal. Just had some fun. But that's the world we live in now. Everything is on camera, and everybody's going to be worried about what someone's got on you. Terrible world to live in. I've been told that the old days of no cell phones were far more fun, but it's the world we're given, folks. It is the world we are given. That's all for us tonight, folks. I appreciate, as always, you guys tuning in to the Great America Show and tuning in live on this Monday edition of the Great America Show. So much more to get to this week. We're going to have another great show lined up for you tomorrow. We hope to see you back here tomorrow for the Great America Show, where the quest for truth, justice, folks, and the American way continues against all odds, enemies, and haters. So we'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Until then, folks, please be sure to follow us on YouTube, follow us on Rumble, follow us on Twitter, follow us on everything so you can get updates on everything that's going on. And if you don't want updates, don't sign up. And if you don't want to watch the show, don't tune in. That's what makes America great. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you back here tomorrow, folks. Until then, may God bless you. May God bless America. And may God bless the great dogs. God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.